is going on, everybody? We are back for a special, positive episode. Baseball's back. Phillies
Yeah,
are
it's
back.
back. Real
Yeah.
baseball.
Baseball's back. That's the good news. The bad news is nothing is going to plan. Literally nothing.
No.
We showed a bunch of glimpses hitting this week, but our pitching was worse those days. And, we had a pretty good pitch game yesterday on Sunday Night Baseball, and our hitting was nowhere to be found. And the Phils have yet to win a game, and it's Monday after the opening weekend. So kind of depressing. Not full on panic mode because, it's first week in April, and it's a long season. If they lost 3 games in a row in the middle of July, we would think it's normal because that's just what baseball teams do. But it does kind of suck looking up at the standings and seeing a 0 in the win column. We got to win eventually, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
eventually.
People forget that we're going to lose, probably 72 more games, 75 more games. I mean, these things are going to happen.
The best teams in baseball lose like 60, 65 games. So we're just getting some out of the way now. You got to know how to lose in order to win. And we are learning how to lose. Let's kind of get into it because there's a lot that happened this weekend.
Let's unpack it.
Thursday was, that was probably the worst loss in my opinion because we got to DeGrom. He looked pretty bad from the start. Bohmer with the homer, and I thought, this season's we're gonna nail it, and we got the season 100% right. Bohmer's gonna drop 40 bombs for us. Nola looked pretty good. He kind of cruised through the first couple innings, and we got a 5-run lead on the Rangers.
Should be enough, right?
The problem,
in theory,
was Aaron Nola kind of fell apart. We've seen him do this before. Every time he does it, all of Philadelphia just freaks out and says that he's not an ace because, that's obviously going to change a lot by declaring him inadequate to be an ace. And everybody just wants to yell at the poor guy. And I do get it to a certain extent because, man, you get a 5-run lead on Jacob deGrom and the Texas Rangers. You kind of got to win that game. I know their lineup's good, and I know stuff happens, but you got to find a way to just you got to get to the 5th or 6th and just leave that game with the lead. He got into that, I want to say it was the 4th or the 5th inning, and things went downhill, and he couldn't stop it. And unfortunately, anybody we brought in couldn't do anything to help it either. So we gave up 9 runs in 1 inning, and that was about the time that, I don't know about you, but I was just pounding my head into a wall because what a way to start the season, right? Just blowing a lead like that.
Yeah, I was punching my drywall. I was really upset about that one. Yeah, I got some bloody knuckles after that 4th inning. But I guess the big thing is you want to see at least Nola compete a little more. I don't know if it was the pitch clock that got to him. He said after the game he was a little bit gassed in that inning, and he needed to take a breath, and he hung that pitch. So, Josh, is the pitch clock to blame for Aaron Nola's struggles?
Can we stop making excuses about the pitch
I
clock?
know,
Every team has the pitch clock. Every team's dealing with it. Yeah, we're gonna be the one team.
All right,
we're gonna be the one team that complains.
Let me stop you.
Oh no!
I think we're starting to realize I'm not giving Aaron Nola a free ride, but there are certain pitchers that are suited for the pitch clock. There's guys that have a pace and have always had a pace, and there's also guys like Nola who take so much time. And that's how they've been pitching their whole lives. So I think not that I'm making an excuse. I think Aaron Nola should figure it out and adapt because you make millions of dollars. But I think we're going to see that some of these pitchers that we used to think were studs are not going to be as stellar at a faster pace.
I've got some really bad news for Aaron Nola. If he doesn't learn to pitch with the pitch clock, he's not going to get that. He's not going to get that contract he wants. It's here to stay, and whether you like it, whether I like it, whether Aaron Nola likes it, there's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. Rob Manfred's made up his mind. And I am a little concerned because he was a mess. He looked frazzled. He looked rushed. He just the Aaron Nola that we have come to really enjoy watching pitch. He just wasn't there. It fell apart, and it doesn't bode well. Um, Considering that he was pitching with a lead and he was pitching in the heat where he likes to pitch in the heat. And I thought he looked pretty good over the spring, and he just comes in here and throws up a clunker to start the season. And it was rough. I mean, there's really nothing else we can say about it. Do I think Aaron Nola is going to be fine? Yeah, absolutely. But really would have set the tone for this opening weekend if he could have limited the damage a little bit there.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think he's just going to have a short learning curve. I think he's still Aaron Nola. I'm not going to bring up this whole is he still an ace? Because I
I'm
hate that.
so
I
sick of
hate that,
hearing
dude.
that.
I go on Twitter and I see like Aaron Nola's not an ace. I'm like, can we just like drop that whole narrative? Because we know who he is. He's been on our team forever. He's a competitive pitcher and he's a durable one, which we need. We need this year. So get in his corner this year because he's not going anywhere this year. You can bash him in the offseason. You guys are kind of losers.
Every time Aaron Nola gives up a hit, I swear, just this army of Aaron Nola haters just takes to Twitter. If he walks a guy, everybody thinks he's like, he should be cut. But
Yeah,
no, Aaron Nola's fine. Gregory
Give him-
Soto came in and he looked equally bad. Actually, probably a little worse because he didn't get a single out.
Yeah, that was bad.
Just that was rough. And then Connor Brogdon comes in and he doesn't really look any better. Nobody in that first game looked good, and I mean it sucks. I mean, no, they actually. It's not only that they didn't look good; they just didn't look ready. Because Soto looked like he was figuring out his mechanics. I don't know. It's probably just something that they're finally getting back into serious games, and they'll just work out the kinks. But
Yeah,
what a clunker.
It kind of looked like they all like woke up from a nap instead of having batting practice.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what do you think about Bohmer taking DeGrom Oppo? How do you feel about that?
It was good to see. That was a nice swing he put on the ball. It seems like because I was curious. I think we all were very curious. Me and Josh are about as high as you can be on a player with Alec Bohm, and we wanted to see the kind of the work he put in. And everyone wants him to drive the ball, and it didn't look like his approach didn't really change. He still does not do too much with the pitches. He took that, was it high and outside fastball?
Yeah, like middle out.
Yeah, he took it right where it should go, and that's what he did all last year. He sprayed the ball, but he just sprayed it in the air, which is that's a really good sign. It's a really good sign, and I'm not going to trade him to Josh.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, all things considered, offense looked pretty good throughout the first two games. We put up a nice number in the first game, but it was just you can't compete when you give up that many runs. Day two was kind of abysmal. We saw our first position player pitch in game two. Josh Harrison made an appearance. Wheeler didn't have it. Sir Anthony didn't have it. Kimbrel didn't have it. Sir Anthony has an infinity ERA too, along with Soto. They both did not get an out, and just you kind of expect the team to bounce back after a loss like that, but they gave up even more runs the second night, and wow, rough stuff for our run differential. That's for sure.
But again, this is not an excuse, just something that was definitely a big part of the game. CB Buckner. That strike zone was wild. I think he's really hurting the umps cause with the whole robo umps thing, because that you gotta be a little more consistent than that. But again, we let up 16 runs.
Yeah, he had the strikeout from Marsh, and Marsh was pretty frustrated the whole day. Wheeler wasn't happy with the zone either, but Wheeler didn't really look too sharp either.
He did not. That was his velo dropped a little bit.
Yeah, the velo was down, which I mean, it's kind of becoming like I don't want to say anything like too stern about it, but it's kind of becoming like a theme. Just Zach Wheeler's velocity here. We saw it throughout all of the second half of last season. It was just a constant game of cat and mouse with his velocity. And, we're already getting into it in spring training, and now we're in the season. Um, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Zach Wheeler. And it bodes the question that is Aaron Nola even more valuable because we don't have, Zach Wheeler, who's going to age particularly well, because he's really kind of not. He's still pretty effective, all things considered, but it's clear that without his elite stuff that he had a couple years ago, that he's not going to be the top end pitcher that we were hoping for. Kind of somewhere between what he was on Saturday and what he was in his borderline Cy Young season. I'm sure his velocity is going to come back. It's just a matter of if he can keep it, if he can just sustain it. Because it's rough, not knowing, not knowing what kind of Zach Wheeler we're going to get.
Yeah, that's one. Wheeler definitely I'm keep my eyes on, but I'm not going to draw any conclusions off of one start. It is the first start that can happen. Even though he had a full spring training to kind of build up, which that concerns me, that because he would look good in spring. I mean, his velo was up there in the spring. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think it's panic time quite yet.
No, it's just too early to panic on just about anything. So we'll just keep on keeping on until if we get throughout April and we're 10 games under 500, fine, we'll get on here and we'll rant for a little bit. But it's we're second series of the season, so we'll be all right. As for the rest of that game, nothing really significant. Bats are fine. You have Trey Turner, who's everything we could have hoped for. He's awesome. He's going to be so much fun. I think he had 2 triples this weekend. He's just a baller, dude. He's going to be awesome, and people are going to love him once they get to see him every day in Philadelphia. But as for the rest of the lineup, Castellanos even looks kind of good. He's swinging at better pitches and taking walks. JT's doing what he does. Yeah, up and down the lineup, I really had no complaints throughout the first 2 games. It just sucks putting together a good game with the bats and just losing like that. I mean, it's deflating, but I guess it's just part of it.
Yeah, I think these bats will wake up. I think this lineup is just too potent to have cold streaks that are huge. I think we should expect like 5 and 6 runs from these guys on like a daily basis, and it's really just. I think that's something we will grow to be accustomed to, and I think the pitching just has to compete, keep them in the game. That's it.
That's all you can ask.
We don't need goose egg. We just need to be in the game come the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Just keep us in the game, and this offense is going to do a lot of great things.
Yeah, no, agreed. Moving on to Sunday. Actually, in my opinion, the most interesting game for a couple of reasons. So, Christian Pache, I get that he's a really good defender. I'm just not sure how much value he really brings to the team. If you really want good defense out there, you have Marsh. Weren't we supposed to let Marsh face lefties? Wasn't that the plan? I thought that was the plan.
Well, we traded a guy named Logan O'Hoppe for him, so I figured he was not going to be a platoon option this year. I figured we'd take the reins off and just let him go.
Yeah, so why didn't he play?
I think they overthought it. I think they brought Pache in and they're like, all right, like he was hot in spring training. Maybe he can do well against a lefty that he has seen more than I guess he probably saw more at the Athletics than Brandon Marsh has. I personally don't get it. When we brought in Christian Pache, I really just thought he would be a defensive replacement and a base running replacement early on until the staff got to work with him a little more. But I guess Rob, I think, was a little bit happy with the trigger, and I don't know. It should not be a thing. Brandon Marsh is our center fielder. Everyone knows.
Yes,
it. We all know it.
I thought Marsh was the guy versus lefties. That's point one. If you did want to platoon Marsh and you did want someone else to face the lefties, we had somebody to do that, and we traded him away. So why, if you really didn't think that was a good idea, should we really be doing that trade? And I get the defense, but we like it's not like
There's no
Martin Perez is
logic
a
here.
super. Yeah, I know. It's just I don't know.
We
After
can't even
watching Christian
justify this.
Pache hit, I just feel like there's just nothing there with the bat. And I mean, if you're gonna throw, like, does he have really good platoon splits? Probably not, because
No.
he's never hit. He's never hit since he got drafted.
It's
And
like you
he was only a top prospect because of his defense, which is good. But
yeah,
you're telling me Brandon Marsh can't give you more with the bat than Christian Pache, and the investment in Marsh is so big that you just need to do that. You can't bail yourself out by throwing Pache out there, who can't hit anything. Let's just accept that. He like maybe one day, but right now he's a dead out, and there's just no point. Yeah, you might as well throw Kingery out there. I mean, at least we already had Kingery, and he was already on the roster. Guthrie can do the same thing. It's just I don't get it. But
yeah. The way I see it right now is they're just. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that they'd be giving these ABs already to guys like Pache and Josh Harrison.
it's day
Um,
3.
it's day 3. You're right. Why are we putting important early season at bats to? We're taking away from young guys and giving them to these guys that just aren't it. And we know they don't have a good bat. Both of them, Harrison and Pache, do not have a good bat. They should be late game replacements. That's it.
Do you know who would do something like this?
Joe Girardi.
Yep. This is a Girardi thing. Remember Torres at third base? That is the exact same thing. No, this is not what we should be doing. And I don't know if you've been paying attention. Logan O'Hoppy's really good. He's
He's
really,
really
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. And
I think.
he's made the team now. He's not just made the team, he's the starter. And he's actually hitting. He's hitting
Doing
major league
well.
pitching. And I don't know. It's Logan O'Hoppy's making that trade pretty tough for us to kind of win.
The
And
thing
it's a
is,
test.
Brandon Marsh is a good ball player.
Oh
We just
yeah,
have to just be fully devoted to him and put all faith in him, because that's how he's 24 yet. He's our age.
that's
Just
crazy.
give him the role and let him run with it. I think he will. He has a good mentality for the sport. He's a great guy in the clubhouse. Fans love him. Just let him be our center fielder.
Yeah,
God damn it.
that's point A about Sunday. We're in agreement there.
I don't think most of Phillies fans are going to argue that one either. I think we're aligned.
It's just tough because we had like these dreams of a huge offense, and you look up on day 3 and there's no Reese Hoskins. There's he had Christian Pache hitting. Like that's a lineup. Like when you get to August and everybody's banged up and you got all kinds of injuries and stuff, that's the lineup you expect to see.
Exactly.
Not on day 3 when everybody's like, you had Friday off anyway. It's no one's sore, no one is tired. No, that was annoying. That was just super frustrating. But
All
I
right,
mean,
I got something
that's
else.
yeah. Go ahead.
Because I, you know what? I think we're all aggravated, but we can't do anything about that. And how about Alec Bohm at first base?
Um, yeah,
They tried it really early.
You had Sosa at third. Yeah, I guess it makes some sense if you're trying to get righties in there against the lefty. I didn't know it was the plan because Bone. I guess Reese got hurt so late that we didn't even have a chance. But you think that's the plan? I think we're going to see
It
that a
looks like
lot.
I think we're going to see a lot.
Are we facing Nestor Cortez tonight?
We are, and
Is Bomer at first?
Bomer is at first, I believe. Yeah, because Sosa's in the lineup, Stott's in the lineup, Marsh is in the lineup. A lot of lefties, so I think Rob Thompson's letting the boys do their thing tonight. He's not gonna. I don't think he's overthinking it today.
No, that's good. Yeah, he looked okay over there. The footwork is a little odd. He doesn't seem to. Yeah, his stretch doesn't look right. It's different. It's just like the complete opposite of third base. So he'll have to figure that out, but he'll be all right. And you gotta love having Sosa over there. Sosa next to Turner. That defense is it's much improved. That's
Yeah, I saw a lot of people a little bit upset about the whole pulling Bohm off third while he's developing as a third baseman. I think this is a great idea. I think we should. I mean, Hoskins is out. Like, that sucks, but he's a free agent, and Bohm's been on this team for a long time. And if we can keep his body intact at first base a little better too, and I think our infield just gains a lot of range from putting him on first base. I think Stott's got a lot of range at second, and like you said, Sosa and Turner can cover some ground.
Did you see the video of Bryce taking balls at first base in the spring? I didn't even bring that up.
No.
Now, I saw that video. I don't know if he was just doing infield work, but he was taking balls at first base, and I could see that too. I could see that springing up on people, and we look up in September and Bryce Harper's playing first base because you don't have to throw, and he's athletic. He's certainly athletic enough to do it. Interesting idea too. It just came to
never crossed my mind, honestly, that would be an idea, but open for anything.
All right, back to Sunday.
All right, fine.
Bats were gone. I lost interest because the game was pretty boring. Bailey Falter's so funny because no one really wants him to be a part of the plans. No one wants him to be a starter. But every time he goes out there, he's just fine. He gets the job done. He's like a stabilizing figure, which is crazy. He was that last year too.
He was.
Yeah, we constantly complain and groan, and we're like, oh, we want better pitchers. And Bailey Falter, he's a league average pitcher, and he's predictable in a good way. And I don't even understand why he was even starting. I thought Taijuan Walker would get the ball, but I mean, fine. It worked, kind of. We lost, but he pitched well.
Yeah, I think you've always been a little bit kinder to Bailey than I have, but I think it is officially time to put some respect on his name. You're right. Last year, when we were struggling towards the end of the season to make the playoffs, Bailey Falter is that guy in the rotation that could give us a good 5-6 innings and kind of stop the bleeding, which should never be the case with the guys we have in this rotation. But it is. It's weird it makes zero sense.
We keep coming up with these plans to push Bailey Falter out of the rotation, and he's like the only predictable one in the entire rotation.
Yeah, Bailey, you could stay, man. I'm sorry for ever slandering you because that was a great outing. You put us he was competitive, and you put us in a great spot to win the game.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't enough, and swept on our opening weekend. I didn't have a chance to look at the standings. I'd imagine the Braves had a pretty good weekend against the Nats.
I think it did.
I wouldn't be surprised if they swept them, honestly.
They lost one.
Oh, did they?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Mets lost one and then lost today. Bad.
Good. Between that and Verlander, a little banged up right now. That might be the gift that we need in terms of, just figuring it out and keeping those teams close until we get healthy. But clear the slate. Season starts today. Eyes forward. Eyes forward. The boys are up in the Bronx.
They are.
Yankees. I really, really hope we take 2 of 3. I really, really hope we don't get swept again because could you imagine if the Phils come back and are 0-6 for their season opener at Citizens Bank Park? That would be a bummer. That would be a big bummer.
Yeah, but I have a gut feeling based off the Philadelphia Phillies I know. Maybe we don't have any good pitching matchups really this week against the Yankees, but I think we're going to win games because of that. Because on our good pitching matchups, we seem to lose. When Nola and Wheeler are out there, we don't always win. So maybe Taijuan Walker and whoever the hell's starting after that.
Matt Strahm.
Yeah. With the way the Philadelphia Phillies work, we will go 2-0 in the starts with Taijuan Walker and Matt Strahm. And then we'll lose when Nola pitches after that.
How did we get here?
The Philadelphia Phillies are an emotional roller coaster. We all knew this.
Anyway, Nestor tonight. I don't even know who the Yankees are throwing tomorrow. Domingo Herman, maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
and then
believe.
we got Garrett Cole against Aaron Nola, which is actually a really good game.
I think so.
Hopefully Nola bounces back, because if he loses another game in that fashion, everybody's gonna be calling for his head. But no, I have faith. It's a long, long season, and if you can't just um, accept that, then
Yeah.
this might not be the sport for you. We missed it. We were supposed to talk about it. Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah.
What'd you think of his interview?
I loved it, dude. I loved it.
You are less of a pitch clock guy, so I can see why you love it. But a lot of people didn't like it. If you didn't see it, he was asked about the pitch clock, and he gave some blah blah blah. The standard Bryce Harper answer. I've listened to so many interviews with Bryce Harper, and I've realized 99% of the time he's just saying nothing, absolutely nothing. Like, there's nothing you can take away from what he says 99% of the time. But this time he said something interesting. He said, "Do you have the specific wording? I don't want to get that right." He said the boys are trying to take their game back, or something.
He said, "I know a lot of players that want their game back." And
Yes,
then ESPN quickly glossed over, and then I guess someone must have told them that, yo,
the
come back to
producers
this.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, and they did. And then Harper did not want to. He did not want to go into detail, but it was a jab. It was absolutely a little jab.
100%. Yeah, they came back to him, and he said, "I'm not sure what I said." And everybody listening, everybody watching knows that he knew exactly what he said, and he didn't want to. He wanted to let us know his stance on it without becoming the face of it. Because if he would have followed up on that and bashed it for 2 minutes, Bryce Harper is going to be the face of anti-pitch clock.
Yeah.
That comes on the heels of was JT the one who said he was like out of breath after the inning. Someone said they were tired. I know Nola.
JT did say he felt not tired, but he's felt rushed.
Yeah,
And
I
frankly,
do. I know where you're at. I know where you're at on
I
this.
like that Bryce was able to speak up a little bit, and he didn't. I like that he didn't cross that line and go into like a big anti rant, because honestly, I think it might open a couple of ears, because if they can do this, then like they might start making more and more changes to the game. And where do you draw a line? Because this is fine. Like, I don't love it, but like I'll live with it. It's not the worst thing in the world. But what else are they going to do to the game to make it more enticing to younger people? So
So the problem with the quote, I see both sides of this very clearly.
okay,
Bryce Harper's taking ownership of the game. He is referring to the game as his and his team's, and that's something that a lot of the baseball world won't necessarily agree with, because we come to think of it as somewhat of our game as well. It's not just the players' game; it's the fans' game. It's those kids who grow up wanting to be baseball players. It's as much their game as it is the professionals. Um, and Bryce Harper's kind of taking the ownership of the game, and he's kind of deciding and saying that he doesn't really think that this is what he wants, and he doesn't think it's good for him. And the people who don't like it are going to say it's not about you. It's more about the greater good of the game than your individual play, your individual self. And I get that. There is a lot of people that this decision's affecting. It's affecting you and I too, on a much smaller scale. But
yeah,
it's affecting fans, it's affecting players, umpires, coaches, all down the line. But I looked at this from Bryce Harper's perspective, and I really do understand it now, because imagine you are. I'll speak for myself. Just imagine you are an accountant, and you crunch numbers all day, and you serve customers, and then one day your manager comes up to you and says, "Hey, Josh, we want to do something for the customers here. We're going to put a clock on you, and you need to do your job a little faster." I would hate it. I would not want to
yeah,
do that. That's not in my. How is that in my best interest as an employee? Because ultimately players are employees of MLB, the teams. You need to think somewhat self-interested as a player because their job is to provide for themselves, provide for their families, and to be the best they can at what they are. And they feel that the clock is affecting that, and it's completely fair for them to feel that way. There's really two sides to this coin, and I do get both sides. But people are going to say he was passive aggressive. That's what they said on WIP this morning. Um, it is kind of funny how it unfolded, where he pretended to not know what he said because
Yeah.
everybody knew like he knew what he said. But
Yeah,
no,
he
it's
knew.
fine.
I think you made some really good points there.
Bryce Harper he is, if anybody can do that, it's him. He's earned that right. He is completely, he's the face of baseball. He has earned that right to say that, and I do get where he's coming from. But no, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, you really hit both sides of the coin really well, and you're right. There's a lot of merit to both sides, and it does have to be a little bit weird. These guys got these massive contracts playing this game that they've played the same exact way their whole entire lives, and then one day, just out of nowhere, all right, play it quicker, play it fast. It's like, oh well, like, I mean, they can. I'm sure they can figure it out and adapt, but it's a shock. I'm sure. Like you said, I wouldn't want someone speeding up my clock at work.
Yeah, no one wants to be micromanaged, but no, they're just looking at it from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
And it's work to them. It's not necessarily a game, and it's going to be interesting because you think of some of the bigger moments in just baseball history, even last year with the home run, and you put a clock on it, and that moment's not nearly as magical as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure it will become a little more normal to us, but you're right. It is a change that I'm noticing more than I thought I would. I thought it'd be second nature soon, but I do notice it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, me too. I guess we just got to keep an eye on it and see, just weigh the pros and cons. See, I'm sure we'll come back to this conversation as
Oh
we
yeah,
see more of it, and we see more good and we see more bad. We'll see both. I got to go to bed earlier last night. That was cool,
that's
but
nice.
yeah. So that's the only perk for me. But
Us old people love it when these games get
yeah,
done at 9:15 and we can go to bed. But no, that's that. I mean, I haven't even noticed the other rules. Stolen bases are plentiful, which that's fine. I don't have any problem with stolen bases. It does suck for the people who can't hold anybody on. That's got to be
absolutely.
annoying. And if if people are running galore on you and you're giving up more hits and runs because of it, I'd be very upset as a pitcher. But it is cool watching the running game come back into the game like it
Yeah,
is.
I've missed it. I thought it was kind of sad seeing it kind of like fade away for a bit.
Small
That's
ball,
one thing
small ball.
yeah, it's that part I think was good for the game, but that's all I got for tonight, Josh.
Yeah, that's all I got too. We will touch base next week and hopefully some wins start racking up there. But I guess we'll see. It's a long season and there's still so much yet to happen. So thank you guys always for
Oh,
listening.
quick
Oh,
note. I think we'll have a new opinion article up this week on the Double Switch website. Might have a little bit to do with the pitch clock, a little deep dive. But yeah, look out for that one. I'll post on Twitter. And that's all I got.
you heard him. Sixers are in their postseason chase. So as always, go give Pick Swap Media a listen. They got some good stuff, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Go Phils.